The Flawed Theory of Fred Harrison in his book Boom Bust. Boom Bust, House Prices, Banking and the Depression of 2010 by Fred Harrison. Fred Harrison claims in his book Boom Bust that the economic cycle lasts 18 years, with 14 years of boom followed by 4 years of recession. The 14 years of boom consists of 7 years of growth, the recovery phase. A short mid-cycle recession then occurs, which is followed by 7 years of the explosive phase of rapid growth. The last 2 years of the explosive phase is the winner's curse phase, in which house prices takes off due to frenetic speculation in property. This is then followed by 4 years of recession and sharp falls in house prices. The problem with the idea of the 18-year-long economic cycle is that it just doesn't fit the facts. Fred Harrison claims that there are 14 years of boom followed by 4 years of recession. However, the boom following the end of the First World War in 1918, known as the Roaring Twenties, came to an end in the Great Depression of 1929, which means that the boom lasted 10 years, not 14 years, as Fred Harrison suggests. The Great Depression, which started in 1929, lasted until the start of the Second World War in 1939, which means that the recession lasted 10 years, not 4 years as Fred Harrison's theory would suggest. Similarly, the 1980s boom started in 1983 and ended in 1989, lasting 6 years, not 14 years, and this was followed by a recession lasting 6 years, not 4 years. Fred Harrison predicts that a depression will occur in 2010, which will result in a lost decade. But this prediction of a 10-year-long recession starting in 2010 goes against his claim that recessions last 4 years. Fred Harrison says that an economic cycle started in 1976 with a mid-cycle recession in 1982, followed by a recession in 1991. Another cycle then started in 1994 with a mid-cycle recession in 2001, followed by a recession in 2008. The problem is that the economic cycle that started in 1976 ended with a full-blown recession in 1981 rather than a mid-cycle recession, and a new economic cycle began in 1983 rather than the 1976 cycle just continuing to 1992. Fred Harrison introduces a rather odd idea that there occurs a mid-cycle recession halfway through the boom phase of the economic cycle. Fred Harrison's theory says that there were mid-cycle recessions in 1982 and 2001. In actual fact, there was a full-blown recession in 1982 and there was no recession in 2001. Fred Harrison claims that there was a mid-cycle recession in 1929, when what happened in 1929 was the Wall Street crash and the start of the Great Depression. That was a devastating recession lasting 10 years. The idea of a mid-cycle recession is just a fudge in order to make Fred Harrison's 18-year-long economic cycle theory fit the facts. Fred Harrison's idea that there is an 18-year-long economic cycle is wrong, and the idea of a mid-cycle recession occurring midway through a boom phase is completely preposterous and makes a nonsense of his book, Boom Bust. Fred Harrison's book is total rubbish.